Hello, freak bitches. You wrote an article, and I tweet. Let me tell you about my chiropractic journey. I had a podcast that I did with my friend Steve Ranella a few weeks back.
Gotcha.
And he has a brother that has a herniated disc real bad. And he's got atrophy in one of his arms because he's got a pushed nerve and, the whole thing, bulging disc.
Not fun.
Not good, yeah. And we got to talking, and I said, look, that guy's got to do something about it right away because the more time you spend with an atrophied arm, the longer it takes to rehabilitate that. And it's a pretty common injury with martial artists.
Yeah. That's something, get yourself to a physical therapist.
Yeah, right away. And get an MRI, and then spinal decompression, the whole deal.
Do
and just see
everything
whatever.
you can, science-based, absolutely.
So he goes, what do you think about chiropractors? And I go, so I say, I think chiropractors are bullshit. And then he goes, really? I go, yeah. I go, I've just had bad experiences with it, and then I've read some things about it being bullshit. And then I got home after the podcast, and I smoked a joint. And a lot of times when I smoke pot, I feel bad about some of the things that I've said.
I rarely do.
Do you?
I smoke more than the average scientist. My boyfriend is director of R&D at a pot lab.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
There's
pot science.
There is some pot kicking around on a regular basis.
Well, we get it free from a bunch of people. I have to tell people at shows, and no disrespect to people that offer it to me, I'm like, please don't give me any pot. I can't take your pot. I have too much pot.
We have a similar problem.
Yeah. So anyway, I smoke the pot, and then I go, God, maybe I'm a dick. Maybe I was rude saying, because I know people that are chiropractors, and I know they're nice people, and I know they mean well. And I'm like, maybe I'm a dick.
I think that's accurate. I think they mean well.
Some of them, sure.
I think they're wrong, but they mean well.
So I go, maybe I was being a dick. So then I Google chiropractic, and then I start reading. And I spend hours and hours reading about the history of, I'm going to say this in big air quotes, chiropractic medicine. And I go, holy fucking shit. Not only do I not feel bad now I'm angry.
Don't feel bad at all.
And this is to all you people, and I've got a ton of messages from chiropractors that I'm sure are nice folks and that are really upset because they like this podcast and they're like, you're shitting on my business, and you have to understand. I'm sure a lot of you mean well. I'm sure a lot of you do well. I'm sure a lot of you try really hard to help your patients, and I'm sure a lot of you incorporate a lot of other stuff like massage and cold laser and real science into your therapies. But the original guy who created chiropractic medicine was a complete, total bullshit artist.
Fucking whack job.
This guy right here, this character.
Daniel David Palmer. So he started out...
He's a magnetic healer in Davenport, Iowa. I mean, the whole thing is 100% horseshit.
And this article that we wrote, we sent this through, normally my articles, I go through at least, 2 editors, give or take. This one we put through, I believe, 3 editors, a fact checker, and our lawyer to make sure that we were bulletproof on it, because we wanted to make sure that we, that we didn't say anything that could get us sued, basically. And a lot of the information from this came directly from his book, from his own book. So we weren't taking anything out of context. One of the quotes on how chiropractic started came directly from the book, and he, after cracking a half-deaf person's or a deaf person's spine, depending on the retelling.
That was what Jamie just had pulled up in that article. Pull that back up, Jamie, so you can see that.
He claimed that he cracked a deaf person's back and restored his hearing. Now, a couple of things could have happened here. Either one, there was no actual medical consent given because this person was deaf, so I'm not sure how that came about. Right. 2, he didn't actually restore the hearing because there are no nerves in the spine connected to your hearing, or 3, this guy is just lying. Like there are a couple, and we're not sure what happened, but there are still, and chiropractic could have done a few things with this. They could have disavowed what happened and said, we still have a system by which we can try to relieve pain through spinal manipulation. But no, there are still articles out today from chiropractors today that try to claim that yes, indeed, he did restore hearing. Because I was like, no, could you guys just maybe back down on some of the nuttier claims? Because there is some minor evidence that you can relieve back pain, lower back pain, with spinal manipulation. And there are chiros that are trying to be science-based with this, but the history of it is so ridiculous, and they try to back down on nothing. And that's not how science works. Science works with the newest evidence, and it tries to figure out what's real and what's not. And they try to double down on all the craziest stuff. And I think there are chiros that are trying to fix the field maybe and say, spinal manipulation can help with back pain. But that's not what this claims. It claims that you can fix everything in the body through these vertebral subluxations that have never been shown.
Now, what is a subluxation?
All right, so there are two terms being used here, and chiropractic uses it incorrectly, and in medicine we use it correctly. So a subluxation, the actual medical term, means that a joint pops out halfway. So you have a dislocation, which is a complete separation of a joint, basically. And a subluxation is a partial dislocation. I know because they happen to my shoulder. They're a fun party trick. I'll spare you. But a subluxation in the chiropractic sense, they use this medical term kind of incorrectly. They say that your spine can be somewhat out of joint, basically, and it causes all your health problems. Like your pancreas is malfunctioning because your spine is out of alignment. And that's never been proven to happen. And they claim that they can put you into a state of health by massaging your back.
And here's what's important about this. This was created out of thin air by a guy who is a quack. The origin is not based on years and years of medical research.
Correct.
None of this, all of this came from the 1800s from a guy who was completely full of shit.
Yep, and he was a magnetic healer. Now, magnetic healing, like you can still see at the store these little like knee braces that have magnets in it. Guys, save your money. Just get a regular old knee brace. If you feel any relief from one of those magnetic braces, it's just from the brace. It's not the fucking
or
magnets.
Or placebo effect.
Yeah, exactly. Placebo effects are, the placebo effect is a real thing. You can get some relief from that, but don't bother.
Which may also account for some of the pain relief from chiropractic medicine.
Absolutely. They're doing
air quotes medicine.
Exactly. Like they're doing some massage along with what they're doing,
right.
and some
That's
of them.
That's a problem because massage actually helps.
Yep, and there are studies that show people who go to a massage therapist or a massage practitioner tend to get more relief than people who go to a chiropractor. So please go to a massage therapist. Go to a physical therapist. Those are your science-based practitioners. Chiropractic, it started out of bullshit and it stayed directly in bullshit.
But here's the thing: there's no reason that anybody would have. From this one original guy who created it, this guy who's a magnetic healer who came up with this. Somehow or another, it slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
That's what this is. They're running around calling themselves doctors. So this guy said to me, one of these guys who got angry at me, I've gotten at least 2 dozen maybe angry messages from chiropractors. Yeah. But one of them, the guy said, does a podiatrist go to medical school? Well, they go to podiatry school. Not only that, they have a medical residency that they have to do for 3 years. They actually go to a hospital.
Yes.
They have to work in a hospital.
Yeah.
And podiatry is like an actual science of studying the foot.
And some of them are, I could be wrong on this, someone go ahead and please fact check me. I believe some of them are podiatric surgeons. Like they have to know all the anatomy of the feet in order to treat actual foot conditions. These are part of the medical system. Chiropractic works kind of separately and on theories that have never been proven to work. They can't even do imaging. I believe something like half of chiropractic clinics don't even have x-rays. So how can they show you 100% for sure that what they're claiming is happening in your back isn't happening? And I read, these are statistics that I found straight from chiropractic websites, from their organizations. And I have this referenced in the article. I'm blanking on which place had this. One of the chiropractic boards that does large-scale surveys, within chiropractic, about half. There were a lot of places, a lot of people I'm sure said to you, but my chiropractor is good. My chiropractor doesn't do the bullshit stuff. And a lot of my friends said that too. They said, no, they just crack my back. They don't try to sell me any bullshit supplements. About half of chiropractors do the bullshit stuff. They do the extraneous wellness stuff. So if you're playing Russian roulette and you have a 50% chance of getting a bullshit or getting a bullet, are you going to do that? No. I don't want a 50% chance of having a bullshit doctor who's like, well, maybe your cold's really a germ and maybe it's Ebola. I don't want the bullshit doctor. I want the guy who knows what he's talking about. And this is what you're getting with chiropractic. You're getting a bullshit doctor. And it's it's
not a doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't this part of the problem? Is that they call themselves doctors?
Have you seen?
I didn't know.
Yeah,
until this year, or until when I was checking in on this, They don't go to medical school.
They go to chiropractic schools. Now, one of the biggest chiropractic schools in the country is Palmer Chiropractic College, and that's named for D.D. Palmer, the guy who launched this bevy of bullshit on us. And
it's made after that guy.
Named after
the guy who claimed to heal the deaf guy.
And it's one of my. Now this is crazy. So this is going to be a fun story. By fun, I mean horrifying. One of the guys I went to undergrad with went to Palmer Chiropractic College. Now the acceptance rate 100%. Tuition $34,000 a year to learn how to crack baby spines. Now, the guy I went to college with.
Well, you say baby spines. I mean, some people do it.
Some of them do. Now, it is a growing field in chiropractic.
This one guy said, this is hilarious. He said, "You're saying they crack baby spines. It's a gentle manipulation." Like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. Why? Why the fuck are you manipulating babies?
No,
There's no evidence whatsoever that helps babies.
And
the babies aren't complaining about back pain.
Yeah, no, here are the two things that I've heard. One is that it's so gentle, it wouldn't even bruise a tomato skin. Then why are you doing it? Why? No, the other thing they say
because
is...
it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's because they can charge parents. That's why.
Exactly.
The other thing they say is, well, from doing that, and this infuriates me so much. They say from manipulating the spine, because the spine has, within those bones, they have the spinal column, and the nerves control everything in the body. And so from stimulating the nerves, you can give the infant all the immunity it needs to not need their vaccinations. And that's when I get really... Oh, yeah, they claim this shit.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Who's you got to be real specific. Who's claiming that by manipulating a baby, they don't need vaccines?
I understand this is not all chiropractors, but the American Chiropractic Association, this is fairly well cited within the article, the American Chiropractic Association, they are generally anti-drug. They want to use the least amount of medical interventions possible. And chiropractors are not, in most states in this country, they are not cleared to either prescribe or give vaccinations. So if you can manage to get a family to come into you for pretty much all of their medical needs, that increases your bottom line, and it stops, and you can just say, we can do everything for you.
But of course a chiropractor isn't cleared for vaccinations.
Of course.
I mean, they don't give vaccinations. That's not their thing.
And I mean, there's one state in this country, I believe it was Wisconsin, where they were trying to get chiropractors to be able to give pre-sports physicals. And in some cases, the pre-sports physical is the only time all year when a student will see a doctor. So this is infuriating. So whenever a doctor, and I mean, this is you can look at the ACA's website. Put a couple links to it in the article where they say, they're not very pro-vax. And I mean, their language on it is under the condition of freedom of choice, medical choice. And it's like, they don't say straight out vaccines don't work, they're bad for you, but they're wishy-washy on it. And they don't say vaccines work and you should get them. But a couple of chiropractors will try to say, we don't need vaccines. We can increase your immune system. We can increase your immunity by, pressing on the spine.
There's zero evidence.
Zero evidence. And I'm like, do me a favor. Tell me which part of the spine you press on to give a child immunity to measles and polio. Give me the titers. Test that child's titers to show me that they're immune to polio now from you touching their goddamn spine. Maybe it's like, how about this? How about I'll punch you in the I'm not going to punch a chiropractor. How about I just give you a few little little pokes in the back, and then you're going to be immune to smallpox. Just let me know how that works. But I can't get behind a system that has no evidence and tells me it's going to make children immune to deadly diseases.
Okay, here's the real question. How did it get this far? How did this guy, who's a magnetic healer, who had no background in medicine, come up with this system and then have it spread all over the world?
It's such a good story, isn't it? People love a story that says that you can heal them without taking dangerous drugs. And at the time,
but forget about dangerous drugs. I mean, even just helping you with anything.
It's partially because of when it came up, because we only found out 50 years after this that frontal lobotomies were a bad fucking idea, and that thalidomide was going to kill babies. So we were really fucking bad at medicine when this came up, and we're way better at it now, but we still don't have the answers to everything. And that's kind of, I don't want to say a failure of the medical system, but it's just a sign of where we are now. So think about the number of people who have sent us anecdotes saying, I was in miserable pain and my chiropractor was the only thing that worked. And it's like, maybe you needed to get get to physical therapy for longer term pain. But these people that are still going to their chiros, it means they're still in pain, and they should go to a physical therapist for, a couple months of therapy that will eventually strengthen their backs and take care of those issues and, get a massage. But they're going to their chiro because medical has not said, we don't have a tricorder that can scan you, show the exact thing and say, here's the exact medicine, drug, and thing that will fix you. It's kind of, and I hate to use this term, but it's out of the failures of the medical system that something like this has shown up. So we're not perfect at medicine yet, and that's why alternative medicine swoops in with bullshit.
Well, it's just a matter of innovation. It's like there's a certain level that the medical community is at right now. It's pretty staggering what they're capable of, but it's still growing and learning, and we're in a constant state of progress. But what's shocking to me is how far this medical healer or magnetic healer's quack idea got. I just thought it was based on something. I mean, I really did. I've been going to a chiropractor for years, or different chiropractors for years. And one of them was like, this guy used to go to in Hollywood. He's like $140. And literally, he would take care of you for like 10 minutes. He would rub your back a little bit and massage a little bit.
The
and then
massage.
He would pop it and then go, oh, we got it. Oh. And I'd be like, okay. And I would think, all right, man, maybe I'll start feeling better now.
I've got a foam roller for $20 that I can lend you. It'll crack your back really well.
Well, yeah. It's just stunning to me that insurance companies pay for it and that it's been around so long. Now, how did that happen? How are insurance companies paying for it?
There was some lobbying, and I don't think I put this into the article, but there was a lot of lobbying from chiropractors in, I believe, the 70s that pushed the American Medical Association and the insurance companies as a whole to kind of accept them as being medically a part of the system. And that's part of why more and more insurance companies now will cover them and accept them. And even though, like, most doctors won't, like a lot of doctors won't refer you, they'll kind of be like, well, you can look into chiro. Like, there's still, from a lot of doctors, pushback, but there's a little bit more coverage now, just because of a lot of lobbying in the 70s.
Now, if chiropractors do have a center or a treatment center or whatever it is, and they have a bunch of different methods that they employ, this is not saying that those other methods might not give you some relief.
Correct.
But the actual cracking of the necks and the cracking of the back, there's virtually no evidence that heals anything or stops any, or promotes your immune system functioning better or anything like that. No. All these things that it's based on. It's
precisely. Like, the big thing is that, I mean, if they were just claiming we can reduce your back pain, if that was the only thing they claimed, I probably wouldn't have written the article, But what they're claiming is that they can fix all of your health by realigning these vertebral subluxations, which have never been proven to exist. So, like,
what are they doing when your back pops? What is actually happening?
It's like
is there nitrogen being released or something?
I think it's just moving around air bubbles. Like, I mean, tiny little bits of bubbles. And yeah, they are like I don't think realigning is the right word, but they're moving around your back in a way that it kind of naturally moves, because you can kind of move and twist and your back will pop. But they're doing some manipulation of things that kind of naturally happen to a spine with a tiny bit of degeneration with age. I think, like, I'm not exactly the right expert to explain this type of thing. An osteopath would be a better person to explain this, because there are people who are a little better at spinal manipulation than a chiropractor, which is a DO, an osteopath. So in this country, we have MDs and DOs, and they both can practice medicine.
What does DO stand for?
Doctor of Osteopathy. Doctor of Osteopathy, I believe that's the correct term. And my doctor is actually, my primary care is an osteopath, and he's given me a spinal manipulation once when my back was killing me, and we had no idea what it was, and it turned out I had a broken rib, which was not a good time to do a spinal manipulation when you've got a rib broken right on your spine. But it was like the difference is an osteopath never claims that they're cracking your back
fixing
to try
your pancreas.
Yeah, exactly. They're giving you your vaccines. They're doing, they're going, wow, there's something wrong with your ovary. We're going to send you to a gynecologist. Like, they're doing all the things a doctor should do for your health. And if your back is in pain, they'll say, do you want to try a manipulation? They're not pushing that. That's a part of their care, and they try to do science-based manipulations for the potential help of back relief, but they don't want to do that long term. They do it minimally. At least that's been my experience with it, and it seems to be like it. There still seems to be, I'd say at best, weak evidence that it helps with back pain.
Well, the problem is they usually do it with other things that also have been shown to help with back pain, like massage.
Like I said,
and also just rest and time.
Yes, rest, ice, anti-inflammatories.
So you're looking at all these different factors, and I went to a chiropractor and he helped me. Did he? Are you sure?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's funny the things that chiropractors add into it, because like one of the things that I went into in this article, because we really like diving deep on some of the things that we investigate. And it's like I'll admit I'm biased when I go in, because I go after a lot of kind of some of the naturally things, and I'm not anti-natural. Like I'm not 100% against like
just
going
weird
to
homeopathic stuff.
It's funny because we can go into
some
that
of
for
it's
another,
real, right? Like garlic really is good for infections, or some stuff that's
like
legit.
Garlic good for your heart. Ginger, I love. Like when I have a stomachache, I'll go for ginger before I go for.
There's herbal remedies at work.
It's there. There are some herbal remedies that I'm like, absolutely keep them in your cabinet. I'm not against them, but I'm against people taking things without evidence. And I think that's the thing. Like try absolutely to look for the hard evidence before you waste your money. And I think that's the thing that people have fallen into, because they'll say, oh, it's natural, it's better. It's like, is it? Because polio is natural, and I don't think it's very good for you. Like, but I know that's a straw man, fully aware of it. But I also think that people should ask for evidence, and never mind ask for it, demand it before you give somebody your money. And that's what people haven't done with chiropractors.
That is a very good point.
And it's, I think people deserve evidence. And and I think that's something that hasn't been out in the public sphere. Like there was an article I was trying to write a while ago. I forget the exact topic, but one of my editors, was sending it back to me for edit. She's like, I read her comment back was, well, I've been reading this a lot online. A lot of people have been saying this. I'm like, a lot of people have been saying is not evidence. That's the exact opposite of it. Like, I'm like, here, I put in the peer-reviewed data on this.
That's a lazy editor.
I didn't work with her again. She was.
A lot of people have been saying, you can't do that.
And I mean, this is why I like the editors I'm working with now quite a bit.
The problem with this whole clinic thing, though, is that they don't have to have any sort of background in kinesiology or in physical therapy or in any of these things. And so they incorporate all these other modalities, all these other methods of healing you. But they don't have to have a background in education in those things, and they're calling themselves a doctor.
Now, there is one thing I've heard of, and this is why I'd say don't go to a chiropractor, because you don't know what you're going to walk into. But I have heard a couple of cases of times, this being the case, where a chiropractor at first, they go to school for physical therapy, and then they find they can't open their own clinic, even if they've got like an MBA and a physical therapy background. They're like, how do I open my own clinic? And they realize if they just go to school for chiropractic, they can do the physical therapy work they want to and offer a spinal manipulation on the side.
Now, how long does it take to get a degree in chiropractic? Like, how long does it take to get a doctor?
3-4 years. Like it's a lot of school, but think about it.
What do you learn?
How to crack spines.
But here's the thing, though. If it's created by a guy who's a quack, what the fuck could they possibly be teaching you for 4 years?
They do learn some anatomy, but it's like they also learn some, bullshit along with it. So I'm like, I wonder, and I mean, I get it, this isn't all chiropractors, obviously, but like I know, and it's hard to figure out which one you're going to walk into that's going to be a bullshit artist and not. So like I did want, like this wasn't a point I was going to bring up in an article that was going to have a specific point of view, but like I know there are some out there that say, I want to give people physical therapy, I want to strengthen up their spine, I want to get them out of here in less pain, so that if they injure themselves again, they know they can come back to me and trust me with their spine, and also give them some relief while we're fixing them. So, this is a thing that happens, but I don't think it's all the time. It's clearly not all the time. So, you're going to have some really moral people in every field, and you're going to have some really fucked up ones in every field. Like we were, one of the things we touched on in the article were these very social media savvy people. And this is something that drives me fucking crazy. You have to hunt and peck through their websites to find that they say that they're a chiropractor. They just say doctor everywhere. Doctor. And they're giving recipe ideas, and they're talking about the adrenal glands. And the adrenal glands, They're not anywhere near close to the spine, and this is a thing that they're talking about. I'm like, the adrenal glands they're part of.
What are they talking about? Manipulating the spine to help the adrenal glands?
They're talking about, one of the things they talk about a lot is adrenal fatigue syndrome, which has never been proven to be a thing. It's not recognized as a disorder anywhere within the medical care system. Now, you can have a couple different disorders of the adrenal gland. You have Cushing syndrome. There are a couple different things that can go wrong with your adrenal glands. They're little glands that sit on top of the kidneys. But this is, the specialty, I believe, hold on a second, having a blonde moment on the words, or on the subspecialty, but the specialty for which you're going to study the adrenal glands isn't even a specialty that chiropractic has. So it's like, if you want to know about if you're having issues with that, it's like, the things that chiropractors seem to harp on right now are a lot with immunology, or a lot with, just having a complete blonde moment on this, but there are specialties that chiropractors seem to harp on a lot lately, and it seems to be the type of things that are very nebulous and very hard to nail down when someone's having an issue with it, and these are things that chiropractors just don't have the training in.
So essentially someone's putting up a health website, and they're claiming to be a doctor, and they're offering all this advice on diet and all these different things, but when you get to what is their degree in, it's not a real doctor, it's a chiropractic doctor.
And it's